So the next article we got is a Finnish court has ruled that sex with children is permitted.
Wait, what the fuck?
Finland's Supreme Court. Hold on, let me get the article up. Finland's Supreme Court has ruled sex with children as young as 10 is not rape if you come from a culture where sexual relations between adults and kids is normal.
Oh my goodness! Why
Well,
are
it's a good
Europeans?
reason I'm here today then.
Why are Europeans such cucks? This is oh my goodness.
I mean, I don't. This is when we say we're going to review the articles that most people don't. This is the kind of stuff that always slips through the cracks. It's the kind of things you really have to search for in order to find them. I mean, the fact that they would allow, I mean, they've already made every excuse in the planet so that migrants can get away with whatever they want, because at any point where they start locking up too many migrants, they're going to have to eventually admit that the policy was shit in the first place. So since they don't want to do that, they keep passing laws that generally allow for migrants to get away with anything. And we're even seeing that here in the States, is that people complain that migrants are coming to San Francisco and they're shitting on the streets. And they say, listen, we're a country of laws, and who wants to live in a place where people shit on the streets? So instead of stopping the migrants from shitting on the streets, they just make shitting on the streets legal. So that now they can't arrest them for it anymore. So when you complain, hey, there's shit all over the streets, they say, yeah, but they're not breaking any law.
Yeah, but and also this article reminds me of one that I'm actually trying to find now. Somebody shared it earlier. There is an article explaining how Norway actually started giving some of these Muslim immigrants the boot, and ever since they started doing that, then their crime rate went down like 31%. And
Correct.
okay, found it. So I'm going to share it in the chat in a minute.
Yeah, while Shogun is doing that, allow me to go on a small rant.
Please.
So I'm Finnish, and I checked out all the articles that this article was quoting, and the person who wrote this article, he is absolutely correct. This is a true article. This is actually what happened in the Supreme Court. They did actually make this ruling. Now, the political system, or rather I should say the judicial system in the EU, in Finland, and in the US works differently. So whatever ruling we make in the Supreme Court, that is actually not permanently binding. There is basically no precedent or case law in here. Just because a Supreme Court judge makes a ruling like this, that doesn't set any kind of precedent here. That's the main difference between a lot of EU countries and the US. But what's happening here is this dude is actually breaking the Constitution, but that doesn't mean anything, because the Constitution in these countries doesn't mean jack shit. The governors, the politicians that we elect, they can basically change it on a whim. And this is because there is no such thing as a ministry of the Constitution. There's like no court to enforce the Constitution. If you're gonna have a Constitution that matters at all, you better have a constitutional court to enforce it properly. But the reason these things don't exist and never will be implemented in any of these countries is because that would actually make these legislators accountable to their people. And what's likely gonna happen is some redneck is gonna find this rapist and they're gonna lynch him and throw him in the swamp. And what the media is then going to do is they're gonna find a way to blame this on the Finnish people who actually want to protect their country against these dipshits.
Yeah, because they'll say that's the would you rather be racist or raped argument. I forgot which country it was. It might have been Britain or it might have been Sweden. I don't remember. But there was a politician who actually got raped. Hold on one sec.
That was Sweden.
It was Sweden.
Or, wait, no, sorry. Norwegian. I think it was a Norwegian politician from Oslo. I'll post that article as well after I find it.
Yeah, I forgot which country it was, but she was raped by a bunch of migrants, and she didn't say anything.
Oh, this is a dude. Oh, it was actually a dude. One of the politicians that got raped was actually a dude, and he didn't even bother prosecuting the dudes that raped him afterwards. He was actually cucking and defending the dudes afterwards. I don't know. It might have been a false article, but I found it fucking hilarious.
No, I saw one also with a female. She was a blonde, because I just remember looking at her and thinking, well, she. It's not even like she looked like an angry, ugly feminist. She was actually a very pretty, normal woman, and she said that she would rather be raped than be coming out and prosecuting the rape because she doesn't want to be seen as a racist.
Exactly. We were definitely afraid of that. And I don't know when it became a race issue in the North, but we are actually very egalitarian, very fair people. And we have this standard, love thy neighbor. And it actually has worked in our cultures because we're like 95% the same ethnicity and religion. We didn't used to have problems like this. But after we opened the borders, after we decided to stop having kids, yeah, hell no, is that gonna work with people from different cultures?
Yeah,
Well,
what
hold on. If I might, I just want to add maybe a little bit of an atheist check on there. Is we're seeing what happens under any sort of religious thinking. This is why you can sort of identify the postmodern anti-racism SJW progressive stuff as a almost religious ideology, because I see a parallel to exactly how Catholic priests were able to get away with it. It's the same mentality. You'd end up with a populace that doesn't want to question the moral orthodoxy for whatever their prevailing morality is, out of fear of being found impure or unwilling to support the current orthodoxy.
No, that's right.
Also, and this is standard political science 101. When you have a politician that has a policy that's terrible, right? There's only two ways that they can rectify it once they realize that the policy is A, not working, and B, widely unpopular. They can either admit fault, right? They can say, okay, I fucked up. I'm sorry. We're going to change this policy. Here's my plan on how to fix it. Or they'll repress criticism. Those are the only two ways that a politician can deal with an unpopular policy. So when you repress criticism, it most likely means you're going to have to double down on the original policy, because you can't just make it fade away while repressing criticism of it, because people just aren't that stupid. So when you look at Germany, especially, Germany is and Sweden is also pretty bad, but Germany is really the worst. Whenever they have a problem with the migrant policy, they suppress any criticism of it, and then they double down on the migrant policy. So every time they say, okay, we're going to stop people from hate speech against migrants, they increase the amount of migrants, so that the people that are upset about it in the first place start to say, okay, I'm not even going to say anything about it, because if I do, it could increase the amount of migrants that are coming and compound the problem.
Oh, hell yeah. Like articles like these, they are the perfect expose on how the black pill is spreading right now and how our politicians want this. Like, I'm probably not able to comment on this topic as much as some people would like to, because I don't read the fucking local news. It's all trash like this. It's all black pill shit. Like, even if it's not some innocent girl getting raped by Mohammed and Ahmed, it's if it's not that, then it's some lefty bullshit they're trying to promote to get more of this shit. And this is totally done to keep the population pacified. So it's no wonder that in the manosphere and in the red pill community, we often get this criticism that, well, what are you dudes doing? You're not doing enough. What is your plan? And it's like, for a lot of people, now this is not me personally, but a lot of people, it becomes very depressing and very hard to act or even keep up with the media when the media is just full of trash like this.
And in all honesty, that's what they're trying to do here as well. They're trying to just make it.
Exactly.
I mean, look, I'm sure everybody saw some level of meme about that woman who accused Trump of raping her in a dressing room like 20 years ago. I mean, there's no better like advertisement for mental illness than this woman. I mean, she was obviously out of her mind, and now they're even saying she got the whole thing from a TV show, that she actually described the exact plot of a TV show. But when all's said and done, they're going to keep putting this shit out there, because there'll be enough people that back them up saying, "Oh, look, that we have to take her seriously. She actually was raped," or "We have to take all women seriously." That you forget the details of the actual accusation in the first place, and they're doing this to scare basically men into submission. They've been doing it on college campuses for years. Is all a woman has to do is go complain to the administration, not even file a fucking police report, and next thing you know, the guy is ostracized, thrown out of school, and shamed everywhere he goes.
Well, yeah, you're kind of identifying the tactic used for whatever the current moral panic is. It's just, unfortunately, this particular phase seems to have taken a very different tone or political impetus, because it's no longer a moral panic around like Satanism or rock and roll music. It's now a moral panic about the very definition of masculinity, which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, and before we move on, let me just add this here. Like in the far distant past, decades ago, the punishment for rape might have been as severe for murder, but in the Lord's year 2019, a white man murdering anyone in this country, that's 10 years, no questions asked. If Ahmed rapes a white underage girl, or any girl for that matter, that's 3 years. 3 years maximum. Usually they get off with one or something like that. And this is why people don't actually enact the solution. We know what the solution is, but the punishment is a lot worse if you actually solve the problem. So there you go.
Like I said, it requires the politicians to own responsibility for what they've done. And that's a big problem, is that if Angela Merkel is going to be held responsible for her migration policies that she's pushed through the EU, then, I mean, it logically will take the path that she should be tried for either treason or some level of sedition at the very least. I mean, what she's done to Europe is unspeakable. But at the same time, she'll just keep doubling down and doubling down. I mean, she's an old woman and she's obviously sick. She'll just keep doubling down until she's dead, and then she has nothing to worry about. And it'll be one of those cases where probably on her deathbed, she'll say something like, "I think the migration problem was a mistake," and then just pass over dead.
Well, she is having Caesars already, thankfully.
Thankfully. I mean, God can only move so fast, but I just hope he moves a lot faster, especially when it comes to her.